Hey guys, Josh here again with Windy City Equipment and Blue is the New White. As you've probably seen, I've been putting out videos every week or so in the midst of this whole COVID-19 crisis that we're all seeing. And I wanted to add another one today, kind of expanding on one of the things I talked about in my last video. So, one of the things that I said is that we need to be using this time to create a plan for if this circumstance ever happens again. And I'm not talking about a virus per se, I'm just talking about an economic collapse of any kind that could affect your business. So, this video is going to be kind of geared toward business owners or executives, somebody who has a leadership role in a company. Just to let you know what I'm doing, whether or not it pertains to you or not, I'm not sure. But we do know that we're in the thick of it right now. We're seeing what's happening. We're seeing what's working, what's not working, and we're taking steps in a direction. We don't know yet if it's the right direction, or maybe we've taken steps in a direction, found out it was the wrong direction, and now we're taking steps in a different direction. So, but the point is, we're learning, right? We're learning how to navigate this right now. And if you're not writing it down, then you're not going to be prepared again for when this happens next time. And that's not what we want. So, wanted to share with you today my crisis protocol that I'm building. And it's kind of still in its raw stages. It's, not complete because we're not done with this yet. So, a lot of this stuff, I don't know if it's worked or hasn't worked. Time will tell. But anyway, hopefully it will get you started, point you in the right direction and at least help with getting your mind to where it should be and giving you some ideas. Also, if you have any ideas that I hadn't mentioned, that I don't mention when I tell you this, please reach out to me and give me ideas. Also, open to any questions or comments that you have. So, my crisis protocol goes like this. I've broken it down into 5 sections. First is identify and plan. Second is analyze and track. Third is innovate and test. Fourth is inform and direct. And then fifth is execute and overcome. And if you don't have a pen or paper handy, you might want to get one. Otherwise, I'll try to post this at some point, maybe when I'm all done up there, so you guys can see my entire crisis protocol. So anyway, starting with the first step, identify and plan. So the very first thing that you do when it's evident that there's a crisis, afoot, is you need to act swiftly. Don't panic. Take an Advil if you have to. Breathe. Get your head right. All right. Then you need to gather all possible facts, circumstances, scenarios, etc., and always plan for the worst. You have to plan for the worst. You can't be planning for the best, because if the best doesn't happen and, that's a big unknown, you want to be prepared for it. So that's why you plan for the worst. You always plan for the worst. Shift your sales offerings to support and assistance. So instead of pitching things, offer help. Call your points of contact to touch base, like your customers. See what they're thinking, where their head's at. Are they scared? Are they not scared? You're trying to get some insight as to whether or not they're going to continue to pay their bills, or if they need to switch vendors, or just kind of get in their minds a little bit, so you can see things from their point of view, so you can be better equipped for when that ultimately reflects on you. Begin assigning staff additional tasks. Yep. So in the middle of all this, even though work may slow down initially, your tasks are going to go up because you have so much to do to prepare. And you have hopefully surrounded yourself with a lot of people, some good team members, people smarter than you are. So use them. All right. Any tasks that, you don't have to do yourself that maybe you typically might, let somebody else handle that, and then work with them, through it. Push collections immediately. This is imperative, right? Because time is of the essence. You don't know when people are going to stop paying you, and let's just call it what it is. Our income is the lifeblood of our business. And so you need to push those collections right away, try to get as big of an influx that you possibly can, to make sure that you're in a better position heading into this thing. So next up is analyze and track. This is where you need to build your cash flow projections, your burn rates, analyze your cash on hand. Because if you have to dip into reserves because the operating income drops a little bit, you're going to know how much, how long you can stay afloat. And if anybody needs help with any of that, let me know. I can help you with that. Utilize your industry contacts and partners to identify trends. So everybody that you know in the same industry, around the industry, reach out to them, find out how they're navigating it, what they're predicting, what they've seen, what they've heard. Gather as much information as you can so that you can properly do what you do and analyze it. You also need to develop realistic timelines for the uncertainty. And because it's uncertain, you always want to err on the side of caution, right? So plan for the worst, extend those timelines out as long as humanly possible. Worst case scenario is you're right. Best case scenario is that it doesn't take that long. um, Also, adjust your KPIs. So, you may be looking at your KPIs right now on an annual level or on even a quarterly level, monthly level, maybe. But in times like this, you really want to get a little bit more granular with it. So I would recommend probably weekly, if not daily, and compare it to like for instance, what I'm doing is I'm tracking the last 10 weeks, and I am tracking it by week, so I know what I'm doing every week compared to my previous 10 weeks. And as we extend through this, I may extend that back, to 20 weeks or something like that, just so I have a comparison of where I need to be and where I am. And that's the most important part. And track that, all the time. Daily, when you get in, you should be looking at those numbers. And we're talking about like gross margin, new work orders, or new sales, revenue, payables, both purchases and paid, receivables, both invoiced and money received. You also want to look at your last 6 months of income statements to find out exactly what you're spending money on and what you don't need to be spending money on. Maybe it's a luxury item that you can cut out immediately. You also need to again be realistic. This is business, so you need to look at your payroll as well. I would recommend creating a cut list of non-essential employees. So, basically the first ones to go, and hopefully you'll bring them back, and hopefully you don't even have to, it doesn't even get to this step, right? That's what we all hope for, but we saw what happened with coronavirus and everything else. So we need to be prepared. That's all this is being prepared, so you'll have to build a cut list, a round one and a round two, just to make sure that if you do need to do some layoffs, you know exactly who's going to go. You're not struggling with that decision 5 minutes before you're doing it. And that leads us into innovate and test. So innovate and test. You got to make small adjustments to the procedures and offerings that you have, so you have something to set you apart. Because that's going to be huge in able to retain business or get new business during this rocky time, right? Is being able to do things that others aren't doing. So really look at your operations, find out what other services you can provide, how you can expand on the current services. Like, for example, with Windy City Equipment, we implemented our virtual diagnosis where our technician in the office can remotely connect to a customer's cell phone, and then see and hear everything that customer is seeing and hearing. So the hope is that, number one, we don't have to be in the restaurant, and number two, we can either help them fix it over the phone, or we can at least be prepared with the parts that we need so we can get a first time fix by the time we arrive. That's just one example, but you may have to get creative. Shift your marketing strategy to community outreach and caring. Chances are, if this is happening in any way, shape, or form like it is right now, everyone or a lot of people are going to be in the same boat. So marketing is important because everybody has something to relate to right now, and that's all marketing is relating to the masses. So shift your marketing strategy. Look for creative ways to save costs, and this is going to mean something different to everyone, right? But you have to be creative when you're looking to save money, and then also encourage ideas from everyone, from down to the janitor all the way up to the CEO. Uh, you have to encourage everyone to bring you ideas because, if you're a good leader and you're doing your job the way that you're supposed to, uh, you aren't. Uh, you don't have as much of an ego to think that you know everything, right? And that the best ideas can come from the most unlikely of places. So encourage your entire team to bring you any ideas that they have. Some may not be great, some of them you may already be doing, and some of them may just be absolutely stellar that you couldn't have navigated the crisis without. So keep that in mind. The fourth step is inform and direct. So this is where you draft a letter to your customers, letting them know how you're handling the situation, uh, what you're doing differently, how you're going to support them, your attitude in this circumstance, all of that, strengthening the relationship, letting them know that you're there for them. Then drafting a letter to your employees. And this doesn't have to be a letter. It could be an audio file. It could be a message. It could be, a meeting, whatever. Just make sure that when you do draft something or tell them something, that you don't try to pretend to know everything because it's going to be clear that you don't. What you're looking to do is just let everyone know that you're in control of yourself, what you're doing, how you're thinking, to put their minds at ease because there's going to be a lot of uncertainty, a lot of unknowns, and that's what people are afraid of the most. So they just need to hear from you once initially and then consistently thereafter. So they know the state of the company, the state of mind you're in, and, their job security and everything else. So communication to your employees is super important. This is where you also draft a letter to your vendors, letting them know that you value the relationship, letting them know how you're going to handle the situation, what they should expect from you, and hopefully lean on the relationship that you've built with them over the years. Um, and then you want to draft a press release. Press releases are good for getting this information, kind of a combination of all three of those, right, out to the media. Again, back to marketing. So not only can you let everybody within your network and your organization know how you're handling this, but everybody else as well. Again, people may find ideas in it. People may resonate with it. People may even want to partner with you because of the things that you're doing. So make sure you do a press release. Draft an essential business or essential service letter if applicable. Look, I don't know if the next time this happens, it's going to be a virus again or if it's going to be something else. But I figured right now it's a virus, so I better put it in the plan. Plan for the worst, right? You want to draft an essential business letter. So if you do get stopped while you're out and about, you have something to present the authorities to let them know why you're out and about. Adjust your leadership meeting structure and schedule. So chances are you have regular meetings with your management staff or leadership staff. You'll probably want to up the frequency of those and shift the structure a little bit so you can focus more on what's happening now, because that's where everybody's attention should be, is how to navigate, the waters that we're in. And still with an eye on the future, though. Don't forget that you always have to, have one eye to the future because your goal in all of this is to come out stronger than when you started. So you got to have that light at the end of the tunnel. Also, communicate with your customers' accounts payable departments on payments and terms and expectations. Again, this is just keeping the lines of communication open, which is ultimately the best thing that you can do right now is communicate with everybody and let them know where you stand and find out where they stand. Also, remain positive but realistic. All right, you want to plan for the worst. You have to have a positive attitude through it and have faith that you're gonna push through it, but you also have to have a sense of realism in it as well, because you don't want to be blinded by optimism, right? And I don't know if I'm going to catch flack for that or not, but you can't be blinded by optimism because you do have to be prepared, and we don't know what's going to happen. Some things are completely out of our control. and we have to be prepared as best as we can for that. So be realistic. And then, of course, share your findings with other people. This is the step where you share whatever you found with those who are calling you or those who are looking for advice. You don't want to hoard this information. You don't want to keep it to yourself, right? Because then, what value does it bring to anybody else? And you don't want that. We want everybody to succeed through all this. And then the last step we're kind of in the middle of right now because we haven't ended. So it's execute and overcome. This is the step that you would do layoffs in if necessary, apply for any SBA loans or assistance, tap into your reserves if needed. Hopefully that's not needed, but if it is, this is in the execution phase. Implement your new marketing plan and launch it, right? And really get behind it and stay consistent with it. This is where you would make final cuts to spending. Continue collections carefully, right? You got to walk that line. You don't want to be pushy for money, and you just want to keep those lines of communication open and help strengthen that partnership that you've built over the years. And then, of course, monitor your metrics daily at minimum, maybe even hourly, a few times a day, so you know where you stand. Excuse me. So you know where you stand, and that's as far as I've gotten right now because this isn't over. It's not over for anyone. Hopefully, it will be soon, But until then, we stay on course, right? But I just wanted to put this video out because I've made some progress on my crisis protocol for the next time this happens, and hoping to help others get some ideas on how to build theirs. So if you do have any ideas for me, please feel free to reach out to me directly. Let me know. Always looking. And of course, if you have any questions, anything that I can help you with, I am more than happy to. All right. With all that being said, I hope everybody enjoys their Easter weekend. And I hope everybody is as thrilled as I am that we are 1 week closer to this all being over. All right. Well, thanks for watching and good luck and Godspeed. Let's go to work.